right, I think I have one more question. Do you feel like you've struck a balance between all the hats that you wear? Or is it more about practicing self-care in the midst of all that's going on, everything that's on your plate, that keeps you going?
Can I say both? Is that
sure?
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Whatever your answer is.
I'm not a surfer, but it feels sort of like what I imagine
Sure.
surfing is. You know, it's a continuous sort of balance, right? And self-care is part of that. So, you know, there are times where I go too hard with one, you know, area of my life or another, and you know, and then you start to feel it, and you know, you might get sick, you might get tired, and feel like you're less able to give your kids what they need. And that's kind of a moment where I usually stop and think, okay, you know, what do I need here? Do I need a nap? Do I need to, you know, take a walk? Do I need a day off? That kind of thing, and try to kind of build in systems in your life so that you can get what you need, so that you can be the best version of yourself possible. So balance is something I'm constantly working towards, and I feel all the time. But I feel that I've found a pretty good groove, and I'm super grateful to all of my friends, family, and caregivers that help me with that.
So how is that? Like, tell me some like practical things that are part of your everyday life or every week that help create that.
Sure. Well, one thing I do is I have a really good friend who's also a mom of a cardiac baby. And we take this long walk around this beautiful Miramar Lake every Saturday together. We, you know, catch up, talk about all the, you know, difficulties that we have, all the joys and sorrows and everything in between. And for me, that's just life-giving, you know? It's great exercise. It's great to spend time with Liz, and you know, I think that's one thing I do every week, and I carve out time for. That's really, really important. There's other things as well.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, and that's a twofer, because one, you're getting exercise, but you're also with a life-giving friend. So I think those are wonderful. And I've heard you say this, and we talk about this. Of course, we talk about self-care so much in We Are Brave. But about micro self-care,
yes.
And I've said it bite-sized, which is not my own terminology. I heard somebody else say that, but I love it because I think moms feel like, okay, tomorrow I have to go join a gym, or okay, I will, you know, start this diet tomorrow, or tomorrow, you know, it's all or nothing. But it's little pieces, it's little chunks, it's
it's actually micro self-care. I wish I could take credit for it.
Sure.
I think Lori, my business partner for Mindful Return, coined it. But just the idea of, you know, sprinkling a little flax on your oatmeal in the morning. You know, little things. Taking a 5-minute walk and calling a friend. You know, taking a 15-minute nap in your car, and, you know, while your kid's in an appointment or something.
Sure.
Any of those things, they're small, but they can do so much to creating that equilibrium, and I think they can build up to larger habits as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not always able to go to the gym, unfortunately, but you know, even that, you know, one walk every week does so much for my body, soul, and mind. So.
I agree. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and we talk about it again and again and again, that you need to do that if you're not going to burn out, and you need to take care of yourself first. But it's really hard for moms to think that way, because the needs are so high at home, and moms feel like they need to take care of everybody else and make everybody happy first before they take care of their own mental and emotional, physical health. So,
can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So how did you figure that out?
So I've been reflecting on that lately, because it's not something I had to start. I always exercised. I always loved to. I was probably compulsive. I probably still am. And so I think because of that, even though I was, you know, getting married and having babies, I still had to get out there and do something. And it absolutely, I feel good. I get creative when I run. Ideas come to me. It's beneficial on so many levels. So that was always something I advocated for from the beginning. And but then over time, that doesn't actually, when you add new stress, I heard this from a therapist, when you add new stress or chronic hardship into your world, you need to add some other self-care, because what you've been doing for years may not actually help as much as you would think. So I have an amazing husband who's very, very supportive. And so, you know, when it sounds so weird to say I've asked, when I've, you know, said, can we swap? I'm going to leave and go to the gym and then I'll come back and you can go for a run. And he's super supportive. Always, always, always. It was, he's always been hands-on and involved. And so that made me feel like I could advocate breaks for myself, or a girls' night, or a girls' trip. I was doing girls' trips before we got married with my girlfriends. I did them after we got married, and I continued to do them after I had babies. And he was very supportive, even if it was 24 hours that I got away. And if that's all I could do because of the age or stage of my kids, he was always supportive. And so I think that's always helped me advocate for self-care.
Yeah, good answer.
So before we end, I would love for you to share with us, Mia, some resources that you like to recommend to other moms.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a huge podcast nerd, so I really love the Mama Bear podcast, which is by Mary Susan McConnell. Okay. Another thing that she has done recently, which is really cool, is the Dream Team Coloring Book. It's a totally free resource where it's a coloring book that she created that has children of all different abilities and situations. So you can just, you know, sign up for it, get it, print it out as many times as you want, and it's so cool because it helps, like, you know, kids see themselves in the pages. So there's, you know, kids with different limb differences, there's kids, you know, wearing headphones, there's kids in the hospital, kids at school, kids with G-tubes, and for me that's so cool and empowering and something I really love sharing with people, because I think for both parents and also for kids with disabilities, it really helps to see themselves reflected back. Any favorite books or websites or blogs? Yes, well, We Are Brave Together. I've been really enjoying the newsletter. Little plug. Yes, gotta say it. In terms of books, one that I really enjoyed for parents of the NICU stay is a book called Juniper, The Girl Who Was Born Too Soon. It's about a 23-weeker, and it's written by two journalists who are married. And it's just beautifully written and really goes through their emotional journey, you know, caring for a kid who's on the edge of viability and they're not really sure what's going to happen. So I actually read that when I was in the NICU. It was so powerful, so beautifully written, and something I'd really, really recommend if, for parents. Okay. What about back to moms wanting to go back to work? Any particular resources there? Yes, that is a tricky thing because there's just not that much out there about balancing career. It's something I'm trying to write more about for various outlets to kind of create a literature about that. If moms are interested, they can sign up for my newsletter. It's at littleoctopus.org. And so I, on a bi-monthly basis, will write an essay about something that I'm interested in, speaking as a mother of special needs kids who also work. So, you know, I'm hoping that changes over time. But unfortunately for now, there's a lot out there about, you know, moms returning to work and dads returning to work, but not that much about, you know, children of atypical kids who are trying to balance that. But we're going to change that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. Thanks so much. I love all the work that you're doing. I really, really appreciate it. And I know there's somebody out there who's going to be so inspired. So thank you. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.